This is Kevin Conroy, and I am the goddamn Batman.
Well, I don't suppose I'll be needing that anymore, will I? Oops. Spoilers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of a GCRN spotlight of Death of the Family. And this episode will be a little bit different than the last one in the sense that we won't be just covering one issue of Batman, of Death of the Family. We'll be covering many issues of Death of the Family from the various comic lines.
Well, we did that last issue too, or last episode too, because I was talking about Batgirl 14 last time too.
But this is much, much more.
Oh yes, this is much, much more, and we've kind of missed the boat on doing this when these books were originally published. As you all know, the Mayans lied to us. Things move on. We are now in 2013, and there will be 2 Batman Spotlight episodes this month. This one here that you're listening to, which will cover the 15 issues, Batman 15, Batgirl 15, Nightwing 15. You've got Detective and Batman and Robin 15, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be all-encompassing with this whole Death of the Family stuff. I'll go ahead and get Nightwing 15 out of the way. Nightwing 15, it takes place after some of the events that happened in Batman 15, so it kind of doesn't make any sense for me to do it now, but just what's in that book is it's very unique and very interesting. It shows you how Dick Grayson has gone back to protect his circus family, and that's how, spoilers, that's how the Joker is going to get to him through his circus family. It is an interesting book. Pretty much the only reason why I initially even picked it up was because it had a Joker cover on it, so it's Joker's face over Nightwing's face. But after reading it, it's pretty good, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm going to pick up Nightwing 16 probably through 20, and then I'll probably put that book down after issue 20, after the events of Death of the Family unfold and all that stuff. So Nightwing was really good. Batgirl 15. I know a lot of people out there don't agree with what DC is doing with Barbara Gordon Batgirl, but
at least she's Batgirl again.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people like the Stephanie Brown Batgirl. I never read that stuff. I would like to eventually, but I never did. But I've always liked Barbara Gordon Batgirl. What they're doing with her is extremely creepy, and I can't believe they're doing this. In order to save her mother, she has to marry the Joker. They're making her marry her attacker, the guy who put her in a wheelchair. Oh boy. I will say in this issue there are way too many. The art's great, the story's great, but there are way too many word bubbles, like her narrating. The narration it's just way too much. And there are certain moments where the narration just kind of, like her emotion, it should be more than what is given. I'm not sure if this took place before or after. I think it took place like just before Gail Simone got fired, then hired again by DC. I liked Batgirl 15. It was interesting. I liked Batgirl 14 and 15 both because the Joker was introduced in 14. Batgirl 13, the prelude, it really, honestly, I didn't find anything in that had anything to do with what's going on now. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and read it, but the art is great. There's a page in here. It's a full spread where Batgirl attacks the Joker. And on the second page, there's a scene where she's attacking him and she's punching him, but he's screaming, and just the image on it, just the way his face is, and the blood spewing out of his mouth, it just looks so badass. Yeah, it's just it's very, very awesome. So I can't wait to see what happens in 16 later on this month. Very, very, very cool.
The thing about the word bubbles, and I'll get more into that with when we hit Batman, but
Yeah.
um, the the whole thing with the word bubbles in this particular the December month, all the issue 15s, it was very, very speech heavy.
Yeah, it was speech heavy because all the 15s have to be outside of Nightwing, and I haven't read the ones that you're going to talk about, but outside of Nightwing, Batgirl and Batman, it had to be very speechy because of the fact that these are the issues like right before the finales, like before the 16s, and obviously what happens in Batman, whatever happens in Batman 17. These issues in December are essentially the expositional issues where you have to get all the background stuff out, you have to get all the monologuing out, all this and all that.
Yeah, and I can, kind of see that, but I do think that they were needed at some point.
Oh yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a downer from the constant go 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 action that we were, getting and that we will continue to get. But it's very helpful for telling some of the story, and for uh, kind of annoying us a little bit into being like, okay, come on, I want to see what's going to happen next.
yeah, exactly.
Um, Batman 15. Uh, for one, I always love the art that's been going on in this Death of the Family. I love the Court of Owls too, but this is even better. And
Yeah,
it's it starts out with just Batman breaking out of his uh, captor's hands, or the net that
yeah,
Joker put him in. He
yeah,
gets intoxicated, which it's water soluble, so when he falls in the river, it's just
yeah,
he's fine. But I love the fact that he wakes up and he's in one dream sequence, then he's in another,
yeah.
and it was mighty. It was like a complete mind screw, and you can tell how bad the Joker's in his head, and he gets in a battle of argumentative anyway of with the rest of the Bat family in the Batcave,
Yeah.
and they're all debating whether the Joker's really gotten in there before, or if Batman's in denial, why he didn't tell them, and all this other information. And so it's a complete mind screw there.
And after that scene ends, that's where Nightwing 15 picks up with Nightwing. Is after that whole argument, because in Batman 15, obviously Bruce goes off and finds a way to track the Joker. This whole scene, this whole argument scene in the cave. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I have not read comics since I was in my early teens in the 90s. So these are just my first impressions on some of these characters. I want to bitch slap his fucking kid.
What, Damien?
I hate Damian Wayne. What a whiny little bitch he is.
Well, you got to figure it this way. You got to add some of the young Tim Drake in there, and then you add the old, Bruce Wayne as Batman. You mix the two together, and that's what you get. So you get a completely unbalanced. You get a kid that's cocky as all hell. He's been raised by the League of Assassins, by Talia, and then goes and has to relearn everything under Bruce. So it's kind of a complete, it's a complete, like mini Bruce. I mean, that's why he's very vocal, which is the difference between Bruce and him.
Well, okay, if you look on the page past the initial screaming wake up, past where they're all just standing there, that next page, it's like the page after that is the explosion and all the Joker stuff. That page right there where they're all egging Bruce to continue the story, and Damien's little panel is, Father, and he looks like a whiny little bitch to me. I don't know. Again, this is my first impression. This is my first time ever reading this character. So, this isn't me just saying that I don't like the kid. I honestly wish they would have done something in DC Comics where they worked around the whole future thing and Terry was his son. That to me would have made a hell of a lot more damn sense than this dumb Damien character.
Well, I mean, you never know. It's still kind of early.
Oh, I know.
So I
know.
mean, you just gotta kind of wait it out. But in any case, the last panel you see is Bruce walking into the asylum, and then you can't talk about that without talking about kind of the little like 3 to 5 pagers at the end, which is the Joker with various Arkham inmates. For instance, this one you have Joker baiting the Riddler, saying, come on, you're the only one with the wits to battle Batman.
Yeah.
And it's true. And he's like, you should not be locked up in here. He's like, you should be out there causing hell. And the Riddler's like, I didn't really have a need to get out. And Joker forces him to get out. So, he's like, he reveals, I've kind of had this way picked out for about 6 months that I could have gotten out. I just didn't feel like it, which I thought was humorous.
Yeah.
But, you're seeing the Joker gathering all these inmates who clearly don't want a damn thing to do with him.
Yes.
Because he's lost it completely. And so it's interesting to see how the other villains are squirming at the sight of the Joker going forward in that.
What I absolutely love about Batman 15 is seeing the Batboat and the Batmobile in this is the first time I've seen these in comic form in a long time, and wow, so awesome.
And what gets it even better is, you get to see these issues are really pitting everybody against each other, and it's really going to tear the whole Bat family up. But they're very interesting, to say the least.
Now, do we know if, as I've been reading these, and a couple of people have pointed out to me that this may not even be... There was this whole thing of this might not even actually be the real Joker.
It is.
Okay.
He was in jail the first issue of, I want to say it's the Dark Knight or Detective Comics. It's one of those two. And they have Dollmaster, who he says, hey, rip my face off, please. And you just see the face plastered against the wall and no Joker. And so he's clearly been in hiding this whole time and stole his face back from Gotham City Police. But
to me, it seems like, just by reading Batgirl, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just by reading Batgirl, it seems to me it wasn't James Gordon that fed her to the Joker. I don't know. I've just got this weird vibe that they're going to pull a twist on us and say, "Oh, hey, James Gordon Jr. dressed up as the Joker." I don't know. I have that weird.
I could see that, but in one of the Batgirl issues, I believe he's the one that turned her over to the Joker.
Yes, right. And that's what I'm saying. She, yes, that is what happened. But at the same time, I can see some sort of weird twist where, even within its own series, it might retcon itself.
It's clearly possible, but it's that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But is that it on Batman 15?
Yeah, I love the cover. I love the covers on all of them, on all the 15s that I have. The covers are just, with the entire series so far, have just been great. Did you want to mention Detective?
Detective Comics, surprisingly, wasn't anything to do with it. I mean, it could have been. I just didn't see it. You have Poison Ivy in it with Clayface, and that they're pretty much just running around through that whole issue. It's, she drugs Clayface into thinking they're married, and they're clearly not. But
I just can't see a Poison Ivy Clayface team up that.
he was drugged. And,
I know it
and
was
so
drugged,
she got hers in the end. But yeah, it's
now, like Nightwing, does Batman and Robin take up after the meeting in Batman?
what's it again?
In Nightwing 15, the story for him starts after the meeting in the cave that happened in Batman 15.
Detective, I couldn't tell where the hell it took place.
No, I'm asking about Batman and Robin. Does Batman and Robin pick up after the meeting?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes, it does. And getting into Batman and Robin, it's interesting, but it's a lot of dialogue. It's actually more, in a sense, than Batman 15.
Okay.
And you have Damian, being grounded by Bruce in the Batcave because, no Alfred. So they need somebody in the cave. And so he's stuck there with his dog. It looks like Ace, but it's different name. I can't remember right now. But he's like, well, the Joker broke in and took Alfred, so he's going to look for clues. And in doing so, he goes outside to the cemetery, and there's hyenas that attack him, and the Joker abducts him, and then he's mildly sedated him. He's put ammonia in his eyes so he can't see or fight back, and they're having a back and forth argument, and he's making this correlation between how Robins function better during the day and less at night, and bats function better at night than in the day, and how Robins and bats don't work together, and it's always destined to fail.
Yeah.
And how everybody else is dragging down the bat, or stealing the moonlight, as the Joker calls it, from the bat, from glowing in on the bat, basically saying that they're all and then he makes a Pez reference saying everybody wants a piece of, pushing back his head, taking the next piece of Pez, and he says, and I want my share.
Oh my god.
And it's hilarious, but he basically leaves. It's almost like the Under the Red Hood, where he leaves Robin in an abandoned warehouse kind of thing by the end of it, except there's not bombs, it's like maggots and bugs and dirt covering him. So it's and he starts out in this issue, the Joker does, with his face upside down, so his eyes are through his mouth hole, and
that's creepy.
And then he flips it around while he's talking, so it's real weird and freaky. So I mean, they're keeping consistent with the Joker through all the different lines. It's just like, wow.
Yeah. That is so creepy. I'll go ahead and say this, folks. We got these issues obviously back in December. When I got Batman 15, like Batman and Batgirl 15, because I only got Nightwing like 3 days before we recorded this. When I got Batman and Batgirl 15, I breezed through Batgirl right away. Absolutely really enjoyed it. Yes, I felt there were more moments where she should have shown, where the artistry and the writing should have shown more emotion for her as a character. But I breezed through that and I enjoyed it. It took me 2 weeks to get through Batman 15 because majority of it is the expositional stuff. And yes, I understand we need that, but at the same time, out of the entire Bat family, there's only 2 Robins I like, Tim Drake and Dick Grayson.
Well,
Jason Todd
is the Red Hood.
Well, yeah, he is the Red Hood. But I mean, Jason Todd I can tolerate. He's all right. But yeah, that kid needs to go.
Well, Damien isn't actually as bad as you make him out to be. But
It's I'm just giving my impressions from
I
what
quit
I've
collecting the
read.
comic
So
itself early on, but that's because I didn't I didn't care for that particular line.
yeah,
I have nothing against that Robin because at some point Bruce should have had a son, and Talia is kind of fitting,
yeah.
and it's an interesting dynamic instead of going with the same old, same old. But uh, I mean, I still prefer Dick Grayson and Tim Drake, honestly, but it's still, they're not Robin anymore. And Batman usually has to have a Robin, so it should be Batman and Nightwing.
Damn straight.
But anyways, yeah, so it would have been nice to have been able to do this the entire run of the Death of the Family, except issues have been hellaciously difficult to get unless you're there the week it comes out, or you have them holding it for you. Because I had to go all over the place to get Batman 15.
You want to know the funny thing is when I went into the comic shop to get Nightwing and to get the other stuff that I was getting
They
there,
had a bunch of them.
Batman 15 was full in stock.
Nice.
But yeah, I knew. I wish this is kind of off topic. I'm going to be getting back into some Spider-Man comics, and I read the last 3 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, and sadly, I now will. If I want Amazing number 700, the final issue, I'm going to have to pay Amazon like $15 on Amazon or something to get it because it sold out the first day. So yeah, that was one I kind of missed the boat on. But that's one of the reasons why I like having the account at my comic shop where I can call them up and say, hey, can you hold on to this for me or add this to my queue or add this or add that and whatever else. And but I'm only going by characters like the Bat Family stuff through Death of the Family. I'm probably going to stop reading the Batman stuff after issue 20s, after the issue 20s. And then when Snyder's next event pops up, I'll start up again. But I mean, I'm loving it. I mean, we're still doing all these podcasts on the issues. I mean, we've got Batman 16 and all the 16s coming out later this month, so we'll have that just in time for February. And then in February, Death of the Family ends.
Yeah,
But
I'm.
go ahead.
I was going to say I'm looking forward to the rest of it, but I still will be getting Batman after this, and probably Detective Comics, depending on what the story arc is. I will continue with Batman no matter what, but Detective Comics will be kind of hit or miss for me. And then I was doing the Dark Knight, and then I decided, nah, just didn't care for it. And then I was doing Batman Inc., and then I really stopped caring because they went back to the original plot line. It's like New 52 never even happened in that one.
Oh, jeez.
And so it's very convoluted because Morrison's still doing it, but he's still referencing crap that actually never happened now.
Yeah.
And so that series just it got to be too much for me, and I was like, screw it. Batman and Robin, I didn't want to spend the money, honestly. But I think there's another one. I don't know, can't remember. But anyways, there's so many damn different Batman lines, it's difficult to keep track. But I decided to stick with the main 2, the original 2, and just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, for me, like I said a second ago, I pick by characters. So Batman, Batgirl, and Nightwing are the 3 that I'm reading. I have I guarantee you, if I started reading Batman and Robin because it is Bruce and Damian, oh boy, this would be so much more hate-filled than what it already is. But yeah, no, I mean, we're actually in the process, kind of as a teaser for people, in the process of coming up with our own comics dedicated show. Because Steve said he's still going to be reading Batman. I will jump back into Batman once Snyder does his next big event. And I'm going to start jumping into Superior Spider-Man when it gets released later this month. So we may end up branching out into a whole just podcast for comics, but we're not going to do.
It's not going to be full-on comics. It's just going to be
right,
select of whatever.
It's just going to be select. For me, it's going to be select characters. It's going to be for whatever we're currently interested in. I refuse to start reading everything. Number one, I can't afford it. Number two, I'm not interested in everything. With Amazing Spider-Man ending, I want to see where they're going to take that. With Death of the Family, you and I will most likely cover the 18s and the 19s and the 20s, just to see kind of like the aftermath of Death, because Death of the Family ends at 17. So we'll see the aftermath and see how that happens. And I mean, I'm sure if you want to do individual reviews, or hell, even if you could make the Batman comic stuff, you could make those Altered Geeks, like the ones that I'm not going to be on. You could do Altered Geeks for those. So
yeah, probably.
That's an idea. But no, the 15s are pretty cool. Expositional, and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks on 16s, I guess. You want to take it out, Joker?
No, not really.
You lazy bastard.
I'm not lazy. I just took the entire Bat family and killed them all. Oh, wait, that would be too much for bats.
So we will see in a couple of weeks, folks, when we talk about Batman 16, Batgirl 16, and all the other 16s from DC Comics.
So no more Pez for you.
Ooh. Technical difficulties. Let's move on, shall we?